my beloved child. There are moments when you lift your eyes to the heavens, and all that remains is a cold, empty space. And you find yourself asking, Lord, why are you silent when I cry out? I know that question does not come only from your lips, but from the deepest place in a heart grown weary. Yet, my child, do not be quick to believe that silence means distance, for it is precisely when it seems there is no sound from heaven that I am still writing quietly and faithfully the most important chapter of your life. I allow silence to gently enter at the beginning of this journey, because today I want you to hear a truth many souls have been afraid to face when heaven is silent. It is not rejection, it is a test for those who remain. Just as Scripture affirms, the one who endures to the end will be saved. Matthew 2:4-13. Steadfastness in silence has always been the lamp that reveals the true character of a child who belongs to me. In the sacred realm where I dwell, there are times I choose to act through silence, because only in stillness can you hear depths that the noise of life constantly covers. You often long for me to speak, yet you rarely understand that silence itself can be the sharpest lesson. When heaven does not answer at once, you may feel abandoned, but my child, my silence has never been a pit of despair. It is a mirror that invites the soul to face itself. And it is also the beginning of a journey into maturity of faith. I see your heart break into fragments each time your prayers seem unanswered. I understand that exhaustion, for not a single tear you shed falls outside my sight. But hear me, child, what makes faith strong is not a miracle arriving on time. It is the ability to stand firm when the miracle has not yet come. That very delay exposes the shadowed corners you usually try to avoid: discouragement, doubt, and the habit of measuring yourself against others. Do not fear them, for I allow them to surface so you can see where you need healing. So today, I will lead you through each layer of meaning within this silence, from the ache of disappointment to the moment of awakening. Every stage is a step I use to refine your soul, preparing you for something greater than what you have asked for. You will come to see that not every silence carries the color of abandonment. Not every delay is aimed at the thing you are pleading for, and not everyone has the courage to remain in the trial. Yet if you want to understand fully why heaven's silence has the power to transform a soul so deeply, then come with me slowly, point by point, so your mind can open and your heart can soften under my guidance. At times, my child, you sit within the long night and feel emptiness settle over your soul like a cold mist. And you ask, why are you not answering? But I do not allow silence as punishment, nor do I use it to push you away. I let silence enter your life the way I let the night sky fall upon the earth, not to hide the sun, but to prepare you to see something greater when the light returns. Sometimes, my quiet is the cloak I place around you to protect your soul from the world's haste. Remember what Scripture teaches: be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 4:6-10. Stillness is where the soul learns to recognize me, not where I disappear. And from this moment, I want you to open your heart and understand silence is one of the ways I love you. There are days when you feel all your efforts vanish into an endless void, unanswered, unencouraged, unseen. You thought I had turned away, but the truth is the opposite. It is in those moments that I am working most powerfully, yet on a level your eyes cannot perceive and your heart cannot yet grasp. I move like underground water beneath the soil, quiet, steady, and sustaining an entire field. If I appeared the moment you cried out, you would see only the action, not the meaning. But when I remain hidden for a season, you begin to recognize the depth I am planting within you. Silence is where I adjust you before I adjust your circumstances. And you will discover that silence does not mean emptiness. It means the unseen work behind the curtain is shifting. My child, the moments you feel I am silent are In truth, the moments I am drawing you into an inward journey that only those willing to face truth can endure. When the silence stretches on, you begin to notice what has long been buried within fragility. Fear. Old wounds not yet washed clean. I do not want you to escape them with hurried answers. I want you to face them, so you may be truly healed. For if the soul is not healed, it cannot hold any lasting grace. So I allow silence to become a mirror, so you can see what must change before I open the next door. And the moment you accept that honest reflection, I have already begun to answer, only in a way you have not yet learned to recognize. Do not let silence convince you that you have been abandoned. Not every pause is a sign of distance. Sometimes it is my invitation for you to stop, to breathe deeply, to release the meaningless noise around you, so you can hear the sound of my footsteps drawing near. You often imagine I come only with thunder, with unmistakable words, with obvious miracles, but I also come in a gentle breath, in a small sound like wind moving through leaves. In the quiet of a morning, no one interrupts. I want your soul to learn the difference between the stillness that comes from me and the silence born of fear. Because only those who can discern these two kinds of silence can stand firm. And when you recognize this, you have stepped very close to the maturity I am forming within you. My child, when I am silent, it is because I want you to learn to trust what you have not yet seen. If I spoke constantly, if I answered immediately, if I appeared every time you were afraid, then your faith would be only a reflex, not a mature strength. I want you to trust me even when the heavens do not respond, because that trust becomes the cord that pulls you away from the cliff of discouragement. As Scripture says, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. True faith is born in seasons without light, and that is why I choose silence, so you learn to walk, not by certainty, but by surrender. I know there were times you begged me to take away this silence. You wanted a quick answer so you would not fear, would not wait, would not feel lost among the unknown. But if I gave you every answer the moment you asked, your soul would never learn to rise on the legs I have already given you. I know waiting unsettles you. Silence makes you anxious, and delay makes you feel unloved. Yet listen to me as a father. If I am silent, it is because I am preparing something you are not yet ready to carry. Silence is care in a different form, but it is still care. And when you look back upon the roads you have already walked, you will see clearly in every moment I was silent. I never let go of you. I opened paths where others saw dead ends. I guarded you from things that, if you had known them too soon, would have shattered your heart. I placed people, events, and small signs along your way to remind you that I was there, only not speaking. Like a father walking quietly behind a child, learning to take steps. I do not intervene too quickly, so you will not quit too easily. Yet I remain close enough to catch you when your footing falters. You will understand then that my silence is not emptiness, but the patient watchfulness of love. If you are willing to look deeper, you will realize that silence is how I help you move beyond dependence on feelings and into a mature relationship with me. You cannot live by emotions forever, because emotions change day by day, but faith stands firm like rock. I want you to build your house upon that faith, not upon voices or signs. Silence makes you question, seek, and dig deeper, and it is in that digging that you discover me at a depth beyond anything you expected. My silence, then, is not meant to weary you, but to let your roots sink far down. My child, now I want you to receive an important truth. Those who believe only when they can hear will miss me when I act in silence. You must learn to recognize me through subtle signs that not everyone has the patience to notice. Prayers not answered immediately are not prayers forgotten. They are being held in my hands for the right time, the right purpose, and the depth I know you need. I want you to live with a heart that can see me even when I am hidden, not only when I reveal myself. For those who recognize me only in daylight will panic in the night, but those who recognize me in the night will not fear any season of darkness in life. And my beloved, from this very stillness I am opening a way for you to understand something deeper when I delay. My focus is not merely the blessing you ask for, but the one who will carry that blessing yourself. But I will speak of that more in what follows. When your soul has grown quiet enough to listen, for only when you understand that silence is not abandonment will you be able to understand why some things I intentionally allow to arrive late. Keep your heart at peace and walk on with me, because what you are about to hear goes deeper, cuts sharper, and yet carries even greater hope. My child, when you enter the stage where waiting feels heavy, I know your soul can easily grow tired and begin to doubt itself. But listen, not every delay is aimed at the thing you are asking for. Sometimes I slow it down not because it is small, weak, or unimportant, but because your soul must grow larger, steadier, and deeper so you can carry it without being shaken by it. As Scripture reminds us, no one pours new wine into old wineskins. Mark 2:2. New blessings can be entrusted only to a heart widened by perseverance. So delay can be an act of protection I give you. So what is good will not become a burden that makes you stumble. There were times I saw you ask through tears, Lord, why won't you give me what I am seeking right now? And I want to hold you close, so you understand delay is not refusal. I do not withhold what you ask because it is too great, but because there are cracks in your soul that must be mended before new grace can settle in peace. If healing does not come first, the blessing may only wound you further, because you will not yet have the strength to keep it. I want you to become someone who can steward grace, not someone swept away by it. And that is why waiting is the quiet preparation I am using to complete what is lacking in you. There are days I watch you wrestle with questions of worth, of deserving, of why others seem to receive what they desire more quickly. I see your comparisons, your self-blame, your discouragement. Yet, my child, those things say nothing about your true value. They only reveal that your soul is still being shaped. When I delay, I am doing the refining work, like a potter, patiently molding every layer of clay so it can bear greater responsibility without cracking. I know the inner changes are what you least want to face, but they are the most necessary, so the blessing will not defeat you the moment it arrives. Listen to this, with the peace I am placing within you, the season of waiting is the space I use to deepen your character. If I brought you to the destination too soon, you would arrive with feet not yet steady, a heart not yet humble, and a soul not yet wide enough to share what you are asking for. I do not want to bring you to a place your soul cannot remain. I do not want you to receive something great while still not knowing how to hold it without losing yourself. So I need you to grow alongside the grace, not chase it in haste and fear. The truth is, some of my gifts cannot come early, because if they came early they would crush you faster than deprivation ever could. A door opened too quickly may lead you in before you know how to stand. I love you enough not to lead you into what your soul cannot yet bear. When I delay, it is because I believe you can become someone worthy to carry it without losing your depth. I never delay to disappoint you. I delay to protect the soul I treasure. My little one, during that time I still watch you take each small step with perseverance. I still see you resisting weariness, and I record every effort. People see results, but I see the process. The world praises success at the end of the road, but I see transformation happening in every step. I do not want you to run toward blessing with trembling legs. I want you to walk into it as one who has been refined enough not to be shaken by storms. And to form that strength, delay is the instrument I use to make you strong from the inside, not by your confidence, but by the strength I place within you. Remember this, a great blessing is not only what is given, but also the one who carries it. I want you to become a new vessel, not to keep grace for yourself, but to know how to pour it out in the right place, at the right time. If you receive the blessing too soon, you may use it only for yourself, but if you wait long enough, you will learn that blessing does not come merely to satisfy, but to serve. That understanding makes the blessing more enduring than anything you have ever held. I am teaching you this through a season the world calls meaningless. But in my eyes, it is the journey of shaping a trustworthy soul. If today you are living in delay, do not call it heaven's slowness. See it as an invitation to become stronger than you were yesterday. I know waiting is uncomfortable, but I have never made you wait in vain. Every day you endure, every second you surrender, every moment you choose to trust me while I have not yet answered, each one is opening something far wider than you imagine. And when my time comes, it will arrive like dawn after a long night, gentle yet radiant. So you will understand that every tear shed in waiting has been counted by me, drop by drop. Know this as well, a blessing that arrives early can intoxicate a person with pride, but a blessing that arrives at the right time can turn a person into true blessing for others. I do not raise children who only know how to receive. I form souls that can become light. And to become light, you must pass through long stretches of darkness. Yet do not fear that darkness, for it is only the soil I use to plant you. When your roots have gone deep enough, I will know the moment you are ready to bloom. And when your heart begins to understand that delay is not aimed at the blessing you ask for, but at the soul that will carry that blessing, you will gradually recognize that another quiet battle is unfolding within you, a battle without noise, unseen by the eyes, yet decisive in revealing the true strength of those who remain faithful in stillness. You will see this more clearly when I lead you through the next depth, where the invisible struggle of steadfast hearts is quietly taking place. Have you ever realized that the ones who quietly keep clinging to me in days when there is no sign at all are the very warriors passing through a battle no one can see? When prayer seems to fall to the ground, when the door remains shut, when all your efforts appear to be met only with silence, this is not a sign that you are weak, but a sign that you have been placed on a deeper front line. Some outward failures do not speak of laziness or lack of effort. They simply reveal that the battle you carry within is a battle others cannot perceive. I see every unseen attempt, every time you wanted to give up, yet returned to kneel before me. In my eyes, those hours are never wasted. They are proof that you are fighting for something far beyond your present moment. There are moments when you think that if you were stronger, more capable, more disciplined, everything would have been different. You blame yourself. Assuming every closed door means you are not good enough. But I want you to stop condemning yourself. Not every setback is caused by your lack of effort. Some things you are facing are not merely the limits of your own strength, but also invisible resistance, shadows that want to break your faith. As Scripture teaches, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces. F6:1-2. There are battles unfolding on levels deeper than your mind can grasp. I do not say this to make you afraid, but to keep you from despising yourself each time you stumble. Sometimes you look at other people's lives and think I favor them more, because everything seems to go smoothly for them, while you are always slower, always uneven, always hindered. But my child, the souls I lead into the silent battlefield are not weak souls. They are the hearts I trust can mature through trial. I do not compare you with anyone, because my plan for each person is unique. The days you must brace yourself against discouragement, against doubt, against the feeling of being abandoned, are the very days you are fighting for your faith. And I am there not as a spectator, but as a father, watching every breath you take. At times you think that if no one knows you are hurting, striving, wrestling, then everything becomes meaningless. But remember, the worth of a battle is not measured by how many people witness it, but by the one who stands beside you in the midst of it. When you remain faithful in silence, when no one applauds, no one praises, no one encourages, then your soul is being trained to find that having me alone is enough. I see the evenings you pray without wanting anyone to notice, the sighs you swallow, the cries within you that you tell no one. All of it I have engraved. Not a single hidden drop of sweat that belongs to you falls outside my gaze. So often you measure yourself and others by what can be counted success, position, testimony, visible results, achievements in the life of faith. But I want you to learn a different way of seeing. Spiritual life is not measured by applause, by how often people mention your name, or by what you can do before the eyes of the world. There are souls I place on a high platform, and there are souls I keep in the background, so they may uphold others in silence. These, though no one knows their names, are steadfast soldiers keeping the flame of faith from going out in this world. Think of the moments you wanted to let go of everything, yet still whispered, "Lord, I'm still here." That moment, though no one hears it, resounds to me more loudly than any song sung at full volume. Whoever remains faithful when no one sees is fighting on a deeper level, so deep that even they sometimes do not realize they are doing something great. You do not need to be loud to matter in the kingdom. What I seek in you is not display, but perseverance, even if only a thin thread still connects you to me. That thread I will hold. I want you to pause and look at yourself through my eyes, not through your own disappointed gaze. You think you are weak because you are tired, but I see you as strong because you stayed. You think you have lost because the outcome is not yet what you hoped for, but I see you as victorious because you did not let darkness pull you away from me. Do not judge your spiritual life only by outward results, my child, for if you look only at the surface, you will call failure what I am using to form a warrior. In the days when you see no obvious change, I am changing you. I make your heart more compassionate toward the weak. Because you have been weak, I make you less harsh toward the slow. Because you have been slow, I make you gentler with souls who are confused. Because you have walked through long nights of confusion and sleeplessness, you are not losing during the waiting. It is in the waiting that you are being prepared to become a source of support for other souls later on. There will come a time when you realize that the invisible war you endured was not only to make you stronger for yourself, but to make you able to carry something greater than what you are asking for right now. Those who can truly bring blessing to many are not those who have never fought, but those who have grown familiar with the mingled scent of tears and hope. I am using these silent battles to measure whether you can be entrusted with what is heavier, wider, deeper, without shattering. And from your faithfulness in silence, I will lead you into another season, where you will understand that what has been withheld the longest in your life is often not only a gift, but a responsibility I intend to place in your hands once you have been strengthened enough. My child, have you ever wondered why there are things I let you wait for so long? Almost longer than your endurance can bear, not because I enjoy prolonging things or testing you for amusement, and not because you matter less, so you are pushed to the end. Often, what is held back the longest is what carries the greatest responsibility. I am not thinking only of your momentary feelings when the gift arrives. I am thinking of the long journey you must live with it. If I give you something too great too soon, that very good thing can become a weight that makes you collapse. So I patiently reshape you, even when you are restless. Let me tell you this gently but clearly, I do not pour abundance on one who only wants to escape lack. If what you ask for ends merely at making your life less difficult, without opening the capacity to become useful to those around you, I will still hold it back. I am seeking in you a heart ready to become an instrument, not merely a receiver. As I have said, to whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 1:2-4-8. Blessing and responsibility cannot be separated. I want you to understand that early, so that when abundance comes, you will not be shocked by the weight that comes with it. In the months when you live within limits and scarcity, you often see only the pain of the present and do not see the training taking place within. When you do not have much, every small act you do in love becomes practice for the day you are entrusted with more. I watch how you use each little portion of time you have, each coin you hold, each small ability in your hands. If in little you have learned to share, then in much you will know how to give. But if in lack you only learn how to hoard for yourself, then in abundance you will still only know how to keep. I allow delay to continue in order to realign your motives, to teach you that true blessing does not end at you, it begins from you. Picture it this way. My child, I did not call you to become a sealed vessel, filled with grace, and then stopping there. I called you to become a spring where the water flows through, cleansing, cooling, and then continuing on to many places. The one who asks only for enough will always live in fear of loss. The one who asks to become a source will be strengthened by me. I entrust responsibility to those who accept that the flow will pass through their lives, even when it requires sacrificing safety and comfort. You think delay means you are forgotten, but in my eyes it is a sign that you are being prepared not only to hold, but also to distribute. My child, I know there are times you look up and whisper, Lord, why are others' doors open faster than mine? You do not see that each soul is placed on a different path. Some carry only a small portion, so doors open and close quickly. Others like you I intend to entrust with more, so the foundation must be built deeper. When what you ask for comes late, you easily think you are unworthy, but in spiritual reality, that slowness is a sign of the trust I have placed in you. I trust that if you allow me to form you longer, you will not only keep the grace for yourself, but also shelter many souls I am about to bring into your life. That is why I invite you to return to me in the time of waiting, not so you beg in confusion, but so you sit beside me like a child who wants to understand a father's heart. Instead of only praying, let me have. Begin to pray. Make me worthy of what you are about to entrust. When you change the way you pray, you also change your position from one who demands to one who cooperates. I do not reject your dreams, but I do not want those dreams to swallow you either. So I wait patiently until you consent to let me prepare your heart, rather than insisting only that I fix your circumstances. And one day, when you have passed through enough hidden seasons without giving up, you will realize what I give you is not only grace, but also work. Every door that opens will come with a place you are invited to serve. Every blessing you receive will bring people, stories, souls placed within your reach. Then you will understand why I was not in a hurry. For if blessing only pampers you, it ends quickly. But if blessing carries responsibility, it becomes a path on which you keep growing. And on that path you will see more clearly not only what you receive matters, but where you are placed carries great meaning as well. From there, you will understand the next step of this journey. The moment I release you from waiting is not only so you feel relief, but so you may stand in the right place within my purpose. Beloved child, when the season of waiting has ripened, when tears have fallen until you think you have nothing left to offer, that is often when I begin to stir the door. But I do not open it to indulge you, to lead you into a safe zone where you fall asleep. Release is not a reward for complaining. It is the fruit of a soul formed enough to step into a new place. I do not bring you out of darkness merely so you can live more comfortably. I bring you out so you can stand where I intended from the beginning. What I am preparing for you is not only comfort, but a role. When circumstances begin to shift, when what you waited for starts to appear, I do not want you to treat it like a ticket to rest after the storm. Look closely. With the open door comes a new responsibility, a work, a mission, a people, a sphere of influence you were not strong enough to bear before. As Scripture says, whoever is faithful in very little is faithful also in much. Cf. Luke 1:6-10. So when I entrust you with more, it is a sign I have seen your faithfulness in the small. Release is not the finish line. It is the signal that you have entered a deeper season of service. Understand this, my child. Restoration is not only getting back what was lost. If it stops there, you will easily return to old patterns, old thinking, old ways of using grace. True restoration is when I reposition you within my heart, within the community, within your calling, and even within the way you see yourself. I do not want you merely to go back to how it was. I want you to step into as I intended. What you call the destination, I see as a new beginning. That is why, when you are freed from a heavy season, you will find you do not return to the old place, but stand somewhere entirely new, with a wider vision. Many ask me to break chains, yet still want to return to the old way of living once the chains are removed. I do not set you free so you can follow every impulse of your heart. I set you free so you can freely choose what belongs to me. When circumstances change, you will have to choose. Will you use your new ease to close yourself in? Or will you open your heart to those who are still in the darkness you have just been led out of? I do not force you, but I invite you, and that invitation comes with grace enough, not only to hear, but to answer with your life. My child, there are times you feel, I kept you waiting too long. So when release comes, you only want to rest, to withdraw from every demand. I understand your weariness, and I soothe you to rest in me. But resting in me does not mean escaping your calling. I give you time to recover, not to forget. In my arms I will heal, comfort, and wipe clean the quiet wounds you carried. Then from those arms I will gently send you forward to where you need to stand, not merely where you feel most comfortable. Remember, what I place in your hands after the season of silence will always be tied to real people. A calling does not exist in a vacuum. It is always linked to faces, fates, souls that need to be touched. What you learned in the dark was not meant to be stored as a private secret, but to teach you how to walk beside those living in their own night. The release you receive will make you a witness, not merely someone who tells a story, but someone who continues that story by lifting others up. So I counsel you, do not stop at simply wanting to have back. Get back. Recover. Ask me, Lord, where must I stand now? And how should I live within what you have given? When you begin to pray like that, you will see release is no longer the final goal, but a bridge leading you to others. I will guide you into places you never thought you would belong. I will bring to you people whose life stories mirror the season you have just walked through. You will not go alone. I go with you, and I will use you as my instrument. And then, my child, I must remind you, with all gentleness, yet with full seriousness, if you only want to receive and do not want to become, you will gradually lose the deepest meaning of the gift. Blessing was not born to rest on closed hands. It was born to flow through hands that open. When you understand that, every silence, every delay, every invisible battle, every long withheld thing has been leading to your being placed in the right position within my plan. Your heart will complain less and grow more grateful. And in that posture, you will step into true freedom, the freedom of a child, not only set free, but also bold enough to live fully the role the Father in heaven has trusted them with. For a very long time, the one who opposes your soul has persisted in pouring dark whispers into your ears that you are a failure, that the words you lift up are nothing but a lonely voice, that your faith is too thin to move heaven. It points to every time you stumbled, every prayer left unfinished, every door that did not open, and then murmurs to you, "See, the fault is yours." Each time, your heart tightens, and you begin to see yourself as the root of every obstacle. But today, I, the one who sees all things, speak to shatter that veil of deception. It is not that you lack faith, my little one, but that within you I have planted a purpose so deep, so wide, so fierce that it must pass through a spiritual collision before it can be fully revealed. Do you know this? There are things I have planned for your life that do not concern only a few years or a few milestones, but touch the destinies of other souls and even generations to come. They are so great that darkness cannot remain still. It schemes, erects obstacles, creates delays, and uses weariness and doubt to suffocate your hope, hoping you will quit before what I ordained comes into season. But listen, my child, the decisive battle does not take place in your hands, but in mine. There are clashes between light and darkness that you know nothing about, while you see only silence. I have already acted, preserved you, broken unseen encirclements, and halted plans meant to destroy you. Every time you thought you were standing alone, the entire heavenly host was in motion because of you. Now I speak to you as a father, gentle yet firm. The gates that were once tightly shut were not meant to exclude you, but to wait for the moment I would speak. And now, in my authority, many bolts have been removed, many spiritual locks shattered, many invisible barriers pushed back. What was paused, dreams that seemed frozen, prayers that felt suspended mid-air, all of it is being reconnected, released, and set in motion toward you according to the time I have appointed. This is no longer merely a season of believing through the fog. This is the moment I invite you into a new posture, the posture of one who opens their hands to receive, opens their eyes to recognize, and opens their heart to welcome what I am pouring out. I do not speak to you in riddles that leave you guessing endlessly. I do not lead you by tangled signals that cause you to lose your way. When my time arrives, the signs appear everywhere, clear enough that if you still your heart, you will realize the coincidences are no longer accidental. The people I arranged to step into your life, the unexpected opportunities that open, the confirmations coming from many different directions, the small doors opening all at once. These are not games of fate, but my signature, written across the pages of your life. I act in the light, openly and clearly, so that when you look back, you will have to confess, if the Lord had not done this, none of it could have been arranged so perfectly. Train yourself to see beyond what lies immediately before your eyes. What darkness wants you to believe is delay or failure is only the surface. Beneath it, I am weaving a network of connections, paths, and bridges leading you to places you have never yet touched. I have already chosen the people who will walk with you, support you, illuminate your way, shape you, and even correct you when needed. I do not throw you into a new season and abandon you. I prepare the way ahead, placing people, circumstances, and resources exactly where they belong. You see only the first step you must take, but I see the entire journey. Every time you obey, You step onto a road prepared long before you realized you would ever walk it. The enemy believes delay will wear you down. But it does not know that I am the one who uses delay to multiply the outcome. It assumes that by stretching time, your hope will dry up. Your faith will erode. Your prayers will fade. And your heart will grow cold. What it does not realize is that while it tries to weaken you, I am driving your roots deeper. Every tear shed in waiting becomes a seed sown in a spiritual field. Every time you choose to turn toward me without understanding, you plant another seed in the soil. And now, when I declare the season has come, it will not be a few seeds that sprout, but an entire field rising at once. What was slowed by opposition, I will repay with increase. Imagine a farmer who spends an entire season sowing, tending, waiting for rain and sun. The sowing season is always long, sometimes tiring, sometimes monotonous. But when harvest comes, in a short window of time, he gathers the fruit of many quiet months. I am doing the same in your life, and even more. In the natural world, harvest still follows the rhythm of time. In my purposes, I can compress, accelerate, and cause what feels like many harvests to converge into one moment. You will feel as though your life has shifted suddenly from barrenness to abundance. Yet in truth, it is the multiplied result of what you faithfully endured over a very long time. This is not merely an ordinary harvest where you receive just enough to feel relieved. I am leading you into a season where blessing comes like a gentle flood, not to sweep you away, but to wash clean the traces of shame, insecurity, and disappointment that once clung to you. I will not restore by simply giving back what was lost, but by increasing, as with my servant Job of old, who, after profound loss, was granted more than before. That principle remains alive. What I restore is not measured only by outward quantity, but by the depth of hope, peace, and understanding of me that you gain. You will see my restoration touch many areas. Not only will finances be lifted, but trust in the future rekindled, weary bodies restored, sleep once heavy with anxiety replaced by rest in me, the places in your soul that once trembled unease, fear of abandonment, the sense of being overlooked will be rebuilt like the strong walls of a safe house. Relationships once broken, trust once fractured, honor once smeared, I can touch all of it, not to avenge, but to restore you, to return to you the position of a child who belongs to me, not a victim of circumstance. Along with this, I will breathe into you a new vision. You will no longer live merely to escape hardship, but to step into what I have ordained. Your inner life will no longer be driven by the question, how can I suffer less, but guided by another Lord? What was I created to do? Where and for whom in this season I will add new strength to you, not only physical strength, but endurance of the soul, the strength to say yes to what is difficult, the strength to keep giving even after being used, the strength to rise from failure without turning bitter. When I increase your strength, it is not so you can outrun others, but so you do not collapse under your own calling. Yet I remind you of this with all the tenderness of a father when blessings rush in. Always remember where they come from. Never let your heart forget the source. You will be tempted to think your perseverance was decisive, that your talent, intelligence, or flexibility produced the result. Always return to me and say, if not for your grace, I could do nothing. Humility does not diminish you. It keeps you in the safe place where blessing can continue to flow through you without hardening your heart or lifting you in pride. I want you to enjoy what I give, but always with the awareness that every good thing comes from me. You are not called only to receive, you are called to become a marker. I will use your very journey, your tear-stained days, your silent seasons, the times no one understood to turn your life into a living answer for other souls walking a similar path. You will become a point of reference, not because people exalt you, but because when they look at you, they can see a way forward, proof that I am still at work in this world. You walked in darkness, so you will know how to take another's hand when they stagger in the night. You knew hunger, so you will treasure every chance to share, to support, to soothe. What you once lacked will become what you most cherish and long to give. If you were once lonely in the crowd, I will use you to draw near to those who are lonely now. If you were once despised, I will teach you to honor the overlooked. If you once wrestled with fear, I will place on your lips words of encouragement for those who tremble. You will not speak in theory, but from a heart once torn and stitched back together by my own hand. The comfort you receive will not end in your own relief, but will flow onward like fresh water to many dry lives. My child, all the releases I am bringing about today are not merely so you may live more peacefully for a few years, but so your life may be joined to eternal meaning. Every step you take in this new season echoes in the spiritual realm. When you choose forgiveness, heaven rejoices. When you choose service instead of withdrawal, the realm of light celebrates. When you choose to stand firm rather than turn away, I see in you the image of my only Son, who also walked the path of obedience through suffering. These choices may not be fully understood by the world, but in the kingdom, they are recorded as living stones building a steadfast temple. And now, as you hear these words, I want you to release one thing. Stop looking at yourself through the eyes of failure. You are not the one left behind. You are the one kept a little longer to be prepared more carefully for your assignment. The delays, the silences, the unseen battles, the slow opening doors, none of these came to extinguish you, but to position you. I have stepped into the battle for you. I have won, and I am opening the way. Respond by opening your heart, your hands, your eyes. I will lead you step by step on a path where every blessing you receive is not merely a gift, but a seed for other lives, so that through you, many will recognize that I, the Lord your God, am still alive, still loving, still acting in this world. Listen deeply, you are not someone tossed about by fate, nor a byproduct of mistakes, carelessness, or failures of others. Before you appeared, I knew your name, saw every day of your journey, and wrote your life not with fading ink, but with the blood of my only Son. Your life is not a draft revised on a whim. It is a plan I have carried in my heart from eternity. I have sealed you with my love, and the word I have spoken over your life is not empty wind. It carries life, power, and the faithfulness of the one who never breaks his word. Though your eyes do not yet see and your emotions often waver, my word is still doing its work, little by little, until it is fully formed in your life. You were not handed over to chance, misfortune, or what people call irony. You belong to me, and those who belong to me do not live by randomness, but within a purpose I direct. You may have heard many voices saying you are lost, meaningless, or that all your efforts are futile resistance against a harsh destiny. But I speak to you as a father. No destiny in this world is stronger than my intention for you. The stumbles, the turns, the roads you did not understand, none of these ruined my plan. They only revealed my persistence in leading you back to the right path. You are not a number in a game of chance. You are my beloved child, whom I cherish at every step. Let this truth sink deep within you. Every word that has gone out from my mouth over your life carries a clear purpose. It does not hover aimlessly in the air, wander without direction, or vanish once spoken. It is seeking fulfillment in your very life. I have spoken blessing. I have spoken release. I have spoken restoration. I have spoken new hope, and these words are not lifeless letters. They are at work like seeds hidden in the soil. When the weather is right, the ground is softened, and the roots have gone deep. Those seeds will break through, and you will marvel to realize they were working quietly long before you ever saw a sprout. I am not bound by the speed of your understanding. I work patiently until my decree is complete in you. And when my appointed time comes, you will witness things you scarcely dared to ask for. I will cause what seemed permanently closed to turn suddenly. Doors locked by others I will open with my own key, not to avenge, but to show that I alone hold final authority. Opportunities tucked away in drawers of forgetfulness I will pull out, dust off, renew, and set before you again. Promises others once made and quietly withdrew, I will fulfill in my own way. So you know I never forgot what you wept to me about in secret. Calls you thought would never come. Doors you thought there was no reason left to knock on. Chapters you believed already closed. I can open all of it in a moment you do not expect. But remember this, these wonders are not meant to feed pride or a spirit of, I was right all along. I do not release you so you can lift your head in competition with others. I release you so my faithfulness may be known. When I do the unimaginable in your life, what I seek is not self-satisfaction, but a heart that trembles in awe of mercy. I want you to look at those who once doubted or dismissed you not with contempt, but with compassion, knowing I long to do the same in their lives if they would open their hearts. You are lifted not to stand above anyone, but to become a witness of what I can do with one who chooses to remain in me, even when heaven seems silent. Understand this when I declare, it is time. No power, not even the deepest darkness, can stop it. I do not negotiate with darkness. I speak, and it retreats. I do not bargain with denial. I open my mouth, and invisible chains fall away. When I issue the command of release over your life, what has been held will loosen its grip, whether those holding it are aware or not. What was unjustly kept must be released. What was unfairly blocked must give way, not because you demanded it, but because I am just. The freedom I give does not come from bitter struggle, but from my word that stands above every barrier, every bond, every human decision. Then you will see that what is returned to you is not only exact, but abundant. Years of weariness, seasons of wounding, stretches of life you thought were lost will be gathered by me, like a farmer reaping after a long, quiet season of tending. I do not restore merely what was taken. I often add what you never dared to hope for, not so you may boast, but so you understand I owe you nothing. Everything I give is grace. I restore your dignity. I restore your voice. I restore the light in eyes once tired from weeping. My compensation is rarely measured in possessions, but in a deep transformation of the heart from one who was crushed into one who stands in peace and gentleness. You will begin to realize that your story is turning onto a new path at a speed you can hardly grasp. Many years of darkness, stagnation, and circling endlessly around the question, why, can be overturned by me within only a short stretch of days. People call it a reversal, a turning of the tide, a turning point. I call it the hour when I choose to act more visibly before your eyes. What was once stamped impossible will gradually be erased. Judgments that once nailed you to your past will lose their weight. Doors that were once closed to you will open on their own, not because people suddenly favor you more, but because I have intervened in circumstances, in hearts, and in situations in ways no one can fully explain. When I act, you will understand that the silence of earlier days was not my absence, but the time I was using to arrange every layer of the picture. I know there were moments when rejection, closed doors, shaking heads, and the long silences after applications, messages, and appointments made your heart bleed. You thought you were not enough. You mistakenly believed you were inferior. You accepted the labels the world placed upon you. Yet quietly, I held fast to the word I had spoken over you. I did not allow those hasty judgments to define you. And when my time arrives, what was once dismissed can be presented again. What was once a no can be revised into a yes. And places that said you were not a fit can become the very places where I position you to serve. It is precisely these moments of reversal that will help you understand this truth. No one has the final say over your life except me. Take this deeply into your heart. I am bringing you out of a long season of lack, not only lack of money or opportunities, but lack of faith, hope, and meaning. Scarcity is no longer the name of your future. I am leading you into a new season, where freedom does not merely mean lighter burdens or less pressure, but being released from invisible chains that once caused you to shrink and withdraw. This is the season in which you learn to walk with the posture of one who is sent, not one who is pushed. A season in which you know you have a place at the table, not one where you wait for scraps from others. A season in which you know you are present because I desire it so, not because you wandered in by accident. But you must understand clearly what I have prepared for you is not limited to numbers, finances, or outward success. I do not stop at simply giving you more in a material sense. Those things are only tools. What I am aiming for is the destiny I placed within you from the moment you were born to become someone who carries my image and my heart in the world. The legacy I intend for you is not only what you hold in your hands, but who you become. That legacy is gentleness with strength, an open heart that is not easily swayed away from truth, eyes that know compassion for those who once stood where you stood. I am leading you into a new way of living, where every blessing I give is accompanied by the question, how will you use this for me when you rise in this season of freedom? I want you to stand with a straight back but a kneeling heart. You can speak to yourself, to old fears, to memories that once made you want to retreat, and say, the God I worship does not fail, not because everything happens according to the timetable you set for yourself, but because in the end, when you look back, you will see that He never once gave up on you. You can whisper within, my God has stepped in. My God has touched what was broken. My God has rebuilt what collapsed. These are not empty slogans, but words rising from a soul that has walked through the night and realized that dawn does not come by accident. It comes because there is one who refused to leave you in the dark. And, my child, as you walk into this new reality, do not forget why I brought you here. Every silence, every delay, every unseen battle, every season of being held back all led you to this moment. The moment you understand that freedom is not the fairy tale ending of a story, but an invitation to live the next chapter with a new role. You are no longer merely one who waits for miracles. You become one who carries my presence into places that lack miracles. You are no longer only one who asks to be upheld. You become the arm I use to uphold others. This is the true destination of every grace, not to make your life more comfortable, but to make you more like me. And when you dare to respond to that call, even with small steps, you will see that everything I have done in silence all these years shares one unified purpose: to bring you from disillusionment to awakening, and from awakening to the courage to live fully as a child, resting in the heart of the Father. My child, in my gaze, not a single tear you have shed has been erased from the memory of heaven. Everything you thought was lost, gone, or too late remains written in my record, never forgotten. never crossed out. Some desires you believed had died, I merely allowed to enter a season of rest, like seeds hidden deep in the soil appearing to decay, yet in truth preparing to sprout with greater strength. What I temporarily withheld from your life was not removed forever, but stored in my treasury above, where time does not fade things, and where every endurance of yours is accumulated as spiritual interest. When I open that treasury, you will not only receive what you once hoped for, but also maturity, peace, and wisdom you never imagined you would possess. I do not borrow a single tear or sacrifice from you without returning it in abundance. In the unseen world beyond your sight, movements are not slow as you might think. When it seems to you that heaven is silent, the spiritual realm is alive with activity. Angels are not sitting idly, they are running, obeying my commands, arranging, guarding, shifting what must be shifted so that my promises are fulfilled at the appointed time. Heaven is not indifferent to the days you were exhausted yet clung to faith. Heaven is not silent when you shut out all the noise just to whisper to me in the dark. In that realm, results are not measured as they are on earth, but by the depth of obedience, and for that reason, as the time draws near, all of heaven rejoices, not only because relief is coming to you, but because my glory will be revealed through your life. You may not feel it, but I want you to know clearly the kingdom above is eagerly awaiting the moment it sees you smile in true freedom, no longer bound by old fears and shame. They long to hear the new song that will rise from your lips, not a song of complaint, but a refrain of gratitude. A song only those who have walked through the valley of tears while still holding my hand can sing. Every step you dance in joy, every smile you give others after harsh years, all of it is evidence that grace has triumphed. I did not bring you into a season of freedom merely so your life would be less painful, but so your joy would become an echo, testifying that I am the one who keeps my word. Do not think it is by chance that you encountered this message, as though you simply passed by it for a moment. In my realm, there is no such thing as coincidence. For a long time, I have been quietly drawing you closer through small signs you may have dismissed as mere happenstance, a sentence, a sermon, an event, a friend, a sudden stirring of your heart. Today, as you read these words, it is because you have stepped into a place of receiving that I prepared beforehand. Many souls pass by without stopping, but you chose to pause, to listen, to open your heart. That choice placed you in the position of one who is ready to receive. You tuned into the frequency of faith, not through a burst of emotion, but through a quiet decision to keep turning your heart toward me even when nothing seemed to change. You reached my throne through something not everyone esteems: obedience in small things. In barren days, in moments when you had no motivation except the belief that I was still there. You may not have called it obedience. You thought you were simply trying to live kindly, to keep your heart upright, to not betray what your conscience knew was right. But, my child, to me, this was the humble. Yes, I treasure more than 1,000 eloquent promises. The small acts you chose to do rightly when no one noticed. The times you chose forgiveness, though you had every right to resent. The meals you shared when you yourself lacked. Each step drew you closer to my throne, so that I could place greater things upon you. Because you lived this way, heaven has moved. The treasury of grace is no longer sealed. I have signed the decree, spoken the word, and what must be released has begun to be released. Prayers you thought had fallen asleep over the years are being recalled by me, one by one, and sent out from the treasury toward you. Do not think what is coming is mere luck, nor believe that misfortune has simply passed. No, you are stepping into the harvest of a long season of sowing. Each time you chose faith in the midst of disappointment, You sowed. Each time you knelt instead of giving up. You sowed. Each time you held your tongue instead of striking back. You sowed. Today, the field of those seeds is beginning to bloom. I know well the moments when you felt you were about to break, the times you had no one to pour your heart out to, no shoulder wide enough to cry on. I was there when pain struck unexpectedly, when everything piled up and left you gasping for breath. I saw how you endured inwardly while forcing a smile outward so others would not worry. You thought no one saw that struggle, but I stood right there, silently watching, silently holding you so you would not collapse. Every strained smile you offered others amid inner wreckage was recorded by me. To me, it was not pretense, it was a form of offering. You chose to place the peace of others above your own weariness. I also witnessed the nights you lay awake, eyes wide in the dark, your mind spinning with numbers, plans, and rescue strategies. You calculated and erased, added and subtracted, adjusted and reworked. Yet nothing ever quite fit the way you wanted. There were moments you wondered if you were simply inadequate, if you had failed somewhere without realizing it. You turned the blame inward, thinking that if you were smarter, more skillful, stronger, perhaps things would not be this hard. I heard every quiet complaint you dared to voice only in your heart. Even the questions you never spoke aloud. Am I asking for too much? Lord, I come to you today to answer that question directly. No, you are not asking for too much. You are asking for what I promised to those who cling to me. You are not demanding. You are calling upon what belongs to you as your inheritance in me. The longing to live rightly, to have peace in your family, to have enough so you no longer live in monthly fear, to use your life for something more meaningful than mere survival. These are not greedy desires. They are dreams I myself planted in your heart. If I planted them, I will not rebuke you for desiring to live fully in them. I am only teaching you that these blessings will come in the way I know is best, not by the shortcuts you imagine. Be assured that justice in heaven is not loose or vague, like promises on earth. I am a God who measures precisely. I miss no small act done in love, no sacrifice offered in faith, no prayer spoken from a pure heart. Everything is placed on my scales, and nothing is too light to be overlooked. If it was sown in faith, in tears, in sincerity, it has been recorded in the archives of heaven. Those pages are not torn, not burned, not forgotten in a dusty corner. They lie open before me, and what has been recorded will be answered. Perhaps not on your timetable, not according to the plans you drafted, but it will never be lost. No matter how many years have passed, how people have changed, how those who once promised you turned away, how the world forgot your story, I have not forgotten. I remember every time you called my name, every time you swallowed your tears and kept walking, every time you wanted to leave but stayed with me a little longer. When I decide to act, no force can stop me. No circumstance is strong enough to break a plan bearing my signature. No one can shut a door I have determined to open. No hand can hold back what I have sent down for you. So, my little one, if in these days you find your heart strangely more sensitive to promises, if an unfamiliar expectancy begins to flicker even though circumstances have not yet changed, know that this is not illusion. It is the echo of what is drawing near. Do not let old fears suffocate this new hope. Do not tell yourself, it's probably just a passing feeling. I am awakening your spiritual intuition to sense that the time I have appointed is near. Not so, you sit still, waiting for a miracle to fall. But so, you rise. Adjust your posture, and prepare to step into the role this freedom is calling you toward. And right now, I want you to change the way you see yourself. You are not someone who arrives late to gather leftover grace. You are not one standing on the sidelines watching others be blessed. You are named, chosen, refined, trained in silence, so that now you may carry a serious assignment within my plan. I free you not merely to comfort you fairly, but to send you out, the smile about to bloom on your face, the song of thanksgiving you are about to sing, the dance steps you are about to take. All of these will become signs to other weary souls, like you once were, that silence is not rejection, delay is not abandonment, and tears are never meaningless when offered in faith. So, as you read this, I want you to breathe deeply and quietly say to yourself, I am not forgotten. I am being prepared. Let this sentence sink deeper into your heart than any other voice. No one has the right to define your worth by outward failure or success. I alone see the entire journey, and I have chosen to stand on your side even when you could not yet stand firmly on your own. What I am about to do is not only to change your circumstances, but to transform your heart. Less fear, less doubt, less self-blame, and greater dependence on me. Then you will understand that the most precious thing you gained from all these years of waiting is not merely an open door, but you, the new person I have formed in the fire of testing, ready to live fully as my child in a world so quick to forget the sacred. Do you remember the days you offered me what you had? Your heart still anxious about whether tomorrow would be enough, the times you opened your hands to share with others while you yourself were struggling. The quiet acts of help you gave without wanting your name known, none of these passed away unnoticed. I saw every sacrifice you never told anyone about. Every time you chose what was right without praise. Every moment you decided to forgive while the wound was still fresh. Those decisions, though made in silence, became the strongest confessions of your soul. They did not sink like stones to the bottom of the water, but rose like incense from an offering pleasing to me. Heaven is not indifferent to your quiet steps. Every small act born of your faithfulness touches my heart more deeply than you realize. I remember every word you spoke to me in secret, every promise you whispered when no one else was there. When you said, Lord, I will not do this because I do not want to grieve you. Even as your lips trembled and your heart was torn, I heard every word. The moments you held back, a sharp reply, swallowed a justification, chose silence to preserve peace rather than argue for victory. These were offerings you placed before me, unseen by others. Every no you spoke to temptation, every time you turned away from what was easy but wrong, every moment you stood alone among many, yet held fast to what I taught, all of it is fully remembered by me. Not so I may one day tally it against you, but so that when I open a new season, you will understand that not a single drop of sweat was shed in vain. My child, in this world people have grown used to talking about profit, about visible gains, numbers, things that can be counted in money or reputation. But in the kingdom of heaven, a very different treasure is being formed within your life. Each time you remain faithful when no one applauds, each time you stay when every feeling urges you to quit, each time you choose to keep trusting me instead of giving up, it is as though a seed in your life is recorded by me as spiritual capital, not the kind of profit people store in banks, but the harvest of faithfulness, of obedience, of quiet steps that still turn toward me. A day will come when all that capital ripens, and you will see it become tangible blessings, real doors, real opportunities, real relationships, moments when I intervene in ways you can plainly see. You will realize that no season of sowing is ever forgotten. It is only that the season of reaping is set by my calendar, not by the timing you would prefer. I want you to understand something gentle, yet very clear. The long stretch of time you once called being left behind was, in truth, a training room I built for you alone. If I were to suddenly place into your hands everything I intend to give, while your heart is still fragile, you would be crushed beneath the weight of the blessing itself, not because you are inadequate, but because you have not yet been strengthened enough. You are like a vessel still wet, soft, easily misshapen. If filled too soon, it will break. So I have led you through paths that seemed severe, days that burn with refining fire, seasons as dry as a desert when you pray and hear no reply. You thought you were merely enduring, but in my eyes you were being forged. My fire is not a destructive flame, it is the fire that refines gold. The desert I allow is not a place of endings, but a corridor of transition leading you into a new land. You have walked through seasons where no one could understand how hard you had to fight not to let go. I know. I have seen the nights when you were too tired to pray, yet you still gathered yourself to whisper a short plea, "Lord, keep me." I have seen the mornings you woke with heaviness pressing on your heart, and still chose to live upright for one more day. I have seen the small choices that cost you greatly, refusing an easy opportunity that violated your principles, refusing to join the crowd in injustice, holding to truth even when it left you alone. Others only see the surface of your story. I see the backstage. I know the invisible cuts, the words that stabbed. Yet you did not strike back, the times you were misunderstood. Yet you did not defend yourself, the injustices you buried within to keep peace and prevent division. Every cut has hurt you, yet each one has also deepened and widened your soul, making room for me to pour in something new. Many times you have thought, "Surely you no longer notice me, so I am treated this way," pushed aside, looked at with suspicion. But listen closely, I see every rejection you have received, every door people have shut in your face, every place you have been forgotten, though you tried with all your heart. Each time you quietly stepped aside so someone else could move forward. I heard the sigh inside you. I do not accuse you for feeling sad. That is the natural response of a heart that knows how to love. I only want you to know that I am right there, beside you, engraving each small pain into my remembrance. I know every moment you could have hardened, could have hated, could have retaliated, but chose not to, simply because you did not want to grieve my heart. Those times of not answering back have never been weakness in my eyes. They are strength. That you did not explode, did not scream, did not run away from me, that is a quiet miracle. I know there were moments you wanted to turn your back, to abandon everything, to live as though you believed in nothing anymore. Yet again and again you returned to me, even if only by a faint, trembling call. The world may not value these returns, but to me they are more precious than any brilliant success you could achieve without me. Each time you return, you consent for me to be your father once more. As long as you still return, your journey never ends in failure, it simply turns into a new chapter. Those chapters of silence and pain are the foundation chapters from which I will later write what shines. Notice this. My child, I never promised you a road without tears. But I did promise that those who trust in me will not be put to shame. I did not say you would never be rejected, but I did say I would never reject you. I did not say you would never face injustice, but I assure you that every injustice will become material I use to lift you up, though you may not hear applause. All of heaven has shifted more than once when you chose to walk by faith instead of quitting. The angels I sent to guard you have stood in reverent awe at your perseverance more times than you know. Even when you only see yourself as small and frail, you think you have done nothing significant. Yet in my eyes you have held your ground in a battlefield from which many others ran. And the time will come, my child, when what has been accumulated in silence steps into the light, not the light of boasting, but the light of my radiance. Those who once saw only failure, delay, and stumbling will be astonished to see you lifted up. not because you are exceptional, but because I choose to display my faithfulness upon your life. I do not answer by lowering anyone else. I answer by honoring what I have done within you. Those who questioned your faith will be forced to reconsider, not so you can retaliate, but so they can see that I am real. I will not open a new season merely to comfort your past. I will open it also to call them back. When I bring you into a season of double harvest, it will not be a moment for you to stand on a high platform and take pride in yourself, but a moment for you to stand as a mirror for others who are still in trials you once endured. You will understand that the double portion is not only repayment for what you lost, but also repayment for what you quietly gave away. Every tear, every time you released what you wanted, every unnamed sacrifice became seed. Now I will use your very life to prove that seed sown in faith does not die meaninglessly. And when people see you, they will ask, how is it that that girl, that young man, someone who seemed to lose at every turn, can stand here now, in that moment? If you point to me, the glory will be placed where it belongs. I want you to prepare your heart for that hour, the hour when I lift you out of the shadows and place you in daylight. That light may feel unfamiliar at first, because you have grown used to being unseen. But do not be afraid. I am not bringing you out to display you. I am bringing you out to use you. I am placing you where people can see, not so you become famous, but so the story I have written in you can reach more hearts. The glory you carry is not a glory you produce. It is my light reflected through you. Just as the moon does not generate its own light but brightens the night with light from the sun, so it will be with you. You will shine with the light you received when you were with me in the dark. So when you step into a season of release, keep your soul soft before me. Do not let praise, results, and positive changes make you forget the nights when it was only you and me. Do not let new honor blur the memory of those trembling steps that still move toward me. That memory will steady you when you stand in higher places than before. You do not need to fear standing high. As long as your heart still knows how to kneel. I taught you to kneel in hardship. Now I will also teach you to kneel in glory. If you keep that posture, no blessing will be able to pull you far from me. Beloved child, none of the silence, none of the delay, none of the unseen battles, none of what has been held back for years has been meaningless. They link together like interlocking chains, carrying you from disappointment to awakening, from merely seeking answers to seeking me. And now, when I lift you up before those who once doubted, it will not be heaven's payback, but living proof that whoever trusts me, whoever remains in me, whoever accepts being refined by fire will never be put to shame. I will shine my light upon you not like a flickering lamp, but like the sun fixed overhead clear, steady, undeniable, and in that light, you will continue to live, not only as one who receives, but as one who carries that light to souls still standing in the darkness you once walked through. My child, if even now you still feel weary, let me gently place another whisper into your heart. This is no longer only a season of preparation. It is a moment when you must be ready to receive what I have been holding for a long time. Train your soul to wake no longer with the fear that today will be the same as yesterday, but with expectancy that an answer can come at any time. When you open your eyes, I want you to know the heavens are not as silent as you imagine. Things have been arranged, shifted, and woven together in secret, and now they are slowly coming into view. Prepare yourself for meetings you did not plan, doors you did not anticipate, coincidences that appear with the right person, at the right time, in the right place. Do not rush to call them luck. Learn to recognize them as my fingerprints on your schedule. Do you remember the promises the world let slip into? Forgetfulness, the money someone said they would repay and then went silent. The promotion that seemed certain until the last moment, it went to another. The project you poured your heart into, only to have it blocked near the finish without explanation. Each of these things hurt you, made you feel overlooked, abandoned, and sometimes even led you to conclude that you were not worthy. But, my child, nothing in all of it has been meaningless to me. What you thought was forgotten has not vanished in my eyes. I do not stand aside while your life is decided by human inconsistency. I remain present. I keep record. I hold what belongs to justice for you. I simply do not resolve things in the hurried way your mind longs for. Understand this, the world you see is only the surface of the water, while the depth of all things lies in the unseen realm. What happens in the visible often is only the shadow of a movement that has been underway for a long time in the spiritual. There are times you thought you were losing, but in truth I was moving you away from what would not be good for you in the long run. There were times you were rejected, but in truth I was removing a trap you could not yet see. And there were times you were misjudged, overlooked, your name crossed off a list. Yet that was the very moment I was protecting you from what glittered on the outside, but was rotten within. You see a picture cut short. I see the whole story from beginning to end. And I know where you must be placed. In the unseen realm, quiet battles have been fought for you, even when you were unaware. Your sincere prayers, your choice to forgive instead of retaliate, the days you wanted to let go yet chose silent trust, these have all become reasons for me to act on your behalf. Angels have been dispatched. Yet you have not seen the outcome because the opposing side still wrestles, still tries to hold what ought to belong to you. The delays, the blockages, the things left hanging mid-air are not because I am indifferent, but because a confrontation is taking place on a level your eyes cannot reach. Yet do not tremble, for I am the Sovereign One. I will not allow darkness to have the final word over your life. Engrave this deeply in your heart when I appoint the time of release. No power can keep what I have spoken. Invisible walls that once held you back will begin to crack. Doors that seemed tightly locked will open one by one in ways you cannot explain. Someone who forgot you may suddenly remember the unfinished matter with you. Someone who turned away may seek you out not because they have suddenly become kind, but because I move circumstances so they can no longer remain at peace while withholding what belongs to you. Debts of honor, suspended justice, promises lying silent for years, I have seen them all and kept them in the storehouse of God's remembrance. I do not forget. I am only waiting for my hour. When that moment is touched by me, you will begin to notice something. The events you labeled coincidence will line up in a strange order that makes it impossible to deny an unseen hand is coordinating everything. An unexpected encounter brings the key to a problem you have wrestled with for months. A notification that seems small pulls behind it a chain of positive changes. A casual introduction opens a door to work, relationships, a new direction. You will not need to bend reality to comfort yourself. Reality itself will speak and show that I am at work. And then you will have to acknowledge those movements that seem small are not the product of chance, but the rhythm of my steps along the path of your life. Begin to live as one, ready to see the resurrection of things you thought were buried. Dreams you pushed into a corner because you believed they would never happen. Plans you set aside out of discouragement. Opportunities you assumed had passed forever. I can call them to rise at any moment I choose. What you see as an ending is, in my hands, only a temporary pause. I do not promise to return everything in the exact original form, because some things I will return differently, deeper, and better, sometimes in an entirely new shape. But I promise you this: no tear, no sacrifice, no faithfulness you have poured out will fall without bearing fruit. When the walls come down, the first thing you may feel is relief, like a weight that has pressed on your chest for so long has finally been lifted. But I will not stop at relief. I want to lead you far beyond merely having enough air to breathe. You have lived too long in a posture of simply trying not to sink, simply trying to survive. I did not create you merely to get by. I created you to live, and to live fully within my purpose. As barriers break and blocked, streams begin to flow again. You will taste a freedom you once only dared to hope for in vague dreams. Freedom, not because there will be no challenges, but because what you need for the journey will begin to be provided. My child, I will cause resources once held back to be released in a new rhythm, not only money, but relationships. The right love from the right people. Help extended at the right moment. Opportunities you never dared to ask for because you felt unworthy. You will no longer have to grope alone in the dark as before. I will bring into your life companions I prepared long ago, hearts I have touched, so that when they arrive, you will know it is not merely the result of social networks, but the arrangement of your Father in heaven. Each time it happens, I want your heart to whisper, "Thank you, Lord, for remembering me." Do not think I will only resolve what is outward. When I say walls will fall, it also means the walls within you will begin to crack, the wall of doubt built after repeated wounds. The wall of insecurity formed through years of being underestimated. The wall of bitterness forged by injustices you carried. As I renew circumstances, I also touch the soul. You will find yourself able to believe again, to hope again, to love again in a way that no longer trembles as it once did. That will be the sign that you are not only being released from the outside, but also being set free from the invisible chains within. And then, in the midst of all those changes, I want to remind you of a truth you must hold like a precious jewel, the one who walks with me, he who is Lord of all riches, Lord of all time, Lord of every door, does not live on the accidental crumbs that fall from life's hand. You are no longer bound to snatch at tiny bits as though you are always standing on the margins. I did not bring you into my kingdom as a beggar. I received you as a child. And a child is different. They know there is enough in the Father's house. And they eat, live, and work with the awareness that they belong. I want you to be freed from the constant mindset of lack, even when your material circumstances are not yet abundant. The greatest lack is not a lack of money, but a lack of faith that the Father is caring for you. Let me correct your perspective. The abundance I desire to give you is not found only in the numbers in your bank account or the stability of a job title. The abundance I speak of is a state of soul, no longer bound by the fear. What if tomorrow it's gone, because that soul knows with certainty, tomorrow, I will still be here. I may use different means, different people, different roads to provide for you. But I myself am the provider. When you truly believe this, you will panic less when one door closes, because you know I never close every door at once. My child, I know there are old wounds that make you hesitant to believe that good things can truly come to you. Perhaps in the past, whenever you hoped, you were disappointed. Whenever you opened your heart, you were hurt. Little by little, you learned not to expect too much, daring only to live at the level of, as long as I get through the day. But I will not leave you there forever. The deliverance I give not only lightens burdens, it restores your ability to anticipate goodness without trembling. I want you to enter each new day not in a posture of guarding against everything, but in the peace of a child holding their father's hand. If you look back on the season of silence and then compare it with what I am about to do, you will notice something subtle. What was delayed the longest is often the very area in which your voice will later be strongest. Where you were rejected the most is precisely where I want to use you to bring healing to others. The ground that hurt you the most is the ground on which I will make you the brightest witness. Because you went through it with me, you will speak not in theory, but out of life and experience. And then, blessing will not only be what you possess, but also what you are able to give back. And finally, my child, I want you to understand that everything I am preparing is not merely to make your life easier to breathe, but to place you exactly where I desire you to be among the people I entrust to you, within the work I confidently place in your hands, within the currents of grace I trust you will not keep to yourself. If you are willing to step in, I will lead the way. If you walk with me, you will know what it means to have enough, not enough by the world's standards, but enough by the measure of a God who never lacks. And then you will understand the season of silence was not useless. The season of waiting was not meaningless. The season of battle was not wasted. Everything has brought you to today, the day you no longer live as one fleeing from lack, but as a child walking in the Father's house, where grace never stops flowing. Listen deeply, because from the moment I rose to act on your behalf, the order of your life began to be rearranged methodically, not hurried, yet no longer delayed. What was once bound by human decisions, by injustice, by unreasonable verdicts, is now being placed into my hands to be judged by heaven's justice. And when I have spoken, no earthly power can extinguish what I have begun, because you are no longer walking by your own strength alone, but moving within a decree established before the ages. From childhood you sensed you belonged to something beyond the limits around you. And today I confirm it was not your imagination, it was the echo of a calling I planted in your soul. Only for many long years, circumstances, disappointments, and heavy cycles covered that calling with dust, making it seem to fade. Yet it never died. For whatever I sow cannot be erased, only buried for a time. Now I am carefully awakening everything again, every dream you forgot, every longing you thought you had buried, every prayer you once sighed and left unfinished. I gather each fragment to set it back into its rightful place within my plan for you. You no longer have to strain to prove your worth by chasing the world's approval, for I have affirmed you with my own word. I have sealed you with a love no one can take away. And now I want you to learn to walk as one with an inheritance, not as a temporary resident in this life. The enemy has used repeated failures and delays to tell you that you are always late, always missing what is good. But I tell you, you belong to me, and the one who belongs to me is never late. Because my timing does not depend on the world's rhythm, rather, the world must turn around. My time, therefore, when I say, it is time, no opposing force can hold back what I intend to place into your hands, even if it has been stuck for a long while in invisible nets of constraint. For many years you lived with the feeling that you were moving backward, that each time you thought you were close, the door shut right in front of you, and you assumed it was because you were incompetent, because you were wrong, because you were not smart enough. But I want to reshape your perspective. Some doors closed because they were not yours. Some contracts fell through because they would have chained your feet away from the path I intended. Some relationships were broken because if they had continued, they would have pulled you away from the very person I was calling you to become. Not everything taken from you is a loss. Some things are early rescues you did not recognize in time. And now, as I begin to open a new phase, you will see clearly that what I restore always exceeds what you once clung to at any cost. Because what comes from me is always accompanied by peace, not a burden that suffocates your soul. Let me speak to you as a patient father. I do not call you to live on scraps, on what is left after others have chosen. I did not create you to stand forever on the sidelines watching others step into your place. I created you to take hold of the portion set apart for you in my design. A portion unlike anyone else's, unblended with anyone else's, beyond anyone's theft. The past years were simply the time I drew you out of what seemed necessary but was not truly yours. so that now, when you are set free, you no longer cling to what is cheaper than your true worth, and you have the courage to refuse the easy choices that do not come from me. Do you remember seasons when you gave everything, running everywhere, striving inch by inch, yet gained almost nothing, feeling as though your youth, your strength, your opportunities were being stolen, but I, within all of it, was quietly laying the foundation for a season of restoration, because I never forget the labor of those who seek me. The years you wasted away were not erased from my book. They were recorded each day, each night, each time you asked why and still sighed. I believe. And those quiet pages will become evidence in heaven, so that when I command restoration, it will not merely soothe emotions, but reorder your whole life within your heart and within the tangible things you need. I do not only want to lift the weight from your chest, I want to break every chain of anxiety that keeps looping around finances, the future, honor, relationships, things that kept you awake many nights, not because you lacked effort, but because you were fighting alone inside a structure the enemy built to keep you in fear. Today, I begin not only to untie knots, but to build for you a new foundation, a foundation based on trust rather than panic, on my word rather than other people's moods. I want you to feel a new lightness, not because everything becomes instantly perfect, but because deep within, you know you no longer have to hold yourself up alone. You have grown used to living in the posture of about to lack, about to lose, about to be late. So even when I begin to work, you still fear that good will slip from your hands. But my child, whatever I give according to my intention cannot be snatched back by anyone, not even by the fear within you. I will teach you to move from clutching everything in anxiety to holding everything in peace. And you will no longer have to fight to keep a spot, to prove yourself, to compete for a share. Because your place in my plan is not a chair someone can push you out of, it is a place where I wrote your name before you were born. And now I am leading you back toward the position you lost sight of while chasing the world's evaluations. Do not think the inheritance I speak of is only money or possessions. Your inheritance is the union of what I placed within you and the doors I open outside of you, the blending of calling, refined character, healed pain, and opportunities I release at the right time. When all these meet, you will walk with a new dignity, not arrogance, but the quiet confidence of one who knows they are loved, chosen, and sent. You will realize you no longer wake with the same heaviness as before. No longer fearing tomorrow will repeat the same old cycle, because I will make each morning carry the color of hope, as though each day holds something I want to send, and you begin to expect it rather than fear it. Many times you thought, maybe my dreams are too far away, I should lower my expectations so I won't be disappointed. And each time you thought that, a part of you quietly went out, yet in that very moment I whispered deep within, you are not dreaming too big, you are only touching what I already wrote for you. That voice was covered by so many other voices, the voice of circumstances, the voice of the world, the voice of bitter experiences. And now, I am making that voice clear again, louder, stronger, so it drowns out every lie that once boxed you into small limits that were never yours. Do not be surprised if in this season I lead you into steps that seem bold. If I place within you decisions you once would not dare consider, breaking away from an old habit, stepping into a new environment, committing to a greater service, opening your heart to people I send. This is not impulsiveness, but the movement of one I am aligning to stand in the right place. I am not pushing you to leap into emptiness. I am setting your feet upon solid stones. Only you are not yet used to trusting those stones because you cannot see the whole picture I am unfolding before you. There is something else I want you to understand. The deliverance I give is not so you turn your back on those still standing where you once stood. I did not pull you out of the valley so you could stand on a mountain and look down on others, but so you would know how to return. Take their hand and tell them with compassion, I was there but not forever, and you will not be either. The experiences of waiting and silence will become a language those souls can understand. So you speak not from theory, but from what you have lived. From here on, I want you to learn to live as a steward rather than an absolute owner. Everything I am placing into your hands, finances, relationships, opportunities, reputation, is a trust. I trust you enough to entrust it. And therefore I also desire you to be mature enough to keep returning to ask me, how should I use this? According to your will, the more you ask, the more you will be guided. The more you listen, the more you will avoid turns that look dazzling yet are hollow within. If before you decided out of fear of lack, now I am training you to decide out of trust in my abundance. You may find yourself beginning to let go of things you once held tightly, a relationship, an opportunity, an idea that felt like without it, I can't live, because I show you they no longer fit the new position I am placing you in. Do not grieve what you must leave behind in this stage, because each thing you release at my word will create space for what is truer to enter. I do not take from you to leave emptiness. I take to replace, not to make you feel deprived, but to make you lighter. And from that lightness, you will be more agile as you step into the new role I am entrusting to you. And now, beloved child, I ask you for only one thing. Do not shrink back into fear after being set free. Do not let my unchaining of you become merely a beautiful memory that slowly fades. Let it become a new way of life, a new way of thinking, a new way of choosing. For if you only receive without allowing yourself to be transformed, the gift will be distorted in your hands. But if you allow me to renew you along with what you receive, blessing will flow through your life like a river that does not run dry. I hold your hand and lead you step by step, and each step has a purpose that you live fully as a child without fear, without the habit of bowing your head, but with a grateful heart, courage, and readiness to become what I intended for you from the very beginning of time, even in this very moment. My child, while you still think everything is standing still, in the spiritual realm, unseen things have begun to shift. The curses, the rash judgments, the harsh words that once planted shame and inferiority in your heart are being uprooted from the atmosphere around your life. The voices that imprisoned you in a distorted image of yourself, I am causing them to fall silent. The connections that exploited your gentleness and vulnerability to pull you down, I am slowly removing them from your orbit. Even if you do not yet see it clearly, I will not permit hands that seek to break your soul to keep touching your future. I am the God of justice. I stand with the oppressed. I defend the despised, those who pass through fire yet keep their faith in me, even when they have nothing to cling to but my name. I will not let them leave the fire empty-handed. I lift those shoved into deep mud. I do not only pull them to the shore, I wipe the mud away and clothe them again with the dignity the world trampled. I move you from a place where it seemed no one noticed you to a place where others must marvel at my covering over your life. So no one can say you belong to the depths forever. You must know this. There is no situation so complicated that I am helpless. No pit so deep that I cannot reach it. No wall so thick that I cannot pass through. The knots in your family, in relationships, in finances, in emotions, knots you think are tangled beyond repair, are to me only the gentle turn of a key. I see the whole picture, while you see only a small corner. You are limited by the years you have lived, by the weariness of your body, by what your eyes can measure. I am not. Time does not pass for me the way you watch the hands of a clock move. I am not managed by work schedules, economic cycles, age, or the milestones people invent to divide early-late. Still in time, too late. I move by a different rhythm, the rhythm of eternal intent, where past, present, and future lie within a single gaze. I hear people whisper into your ear, sometimes with words, sometimes with looks, that you are too old to begin again, that the best opportunities have already passed, that the long years of waiting were only wasted. I also hear the words you speak to yourself. Maybe God has prioritized others. Maybe my portion is gone. My child, those thoughts do not come from me. I do not measure your worth by age, nor cross your name off my plan because you have waited too long. I can compress or stretch a journey in ways you could never imagine. I can do in one day what you clumsily tried to accomplish over decades. I can change the trajectory of a life in a moment when the time is ripe. I once lifted Joseph from the darkest place of prison to the highest place in the palace in a single night. I have not changed through the years. I am still the same God today. For you, in your life, what I have done in history, I can reenact in my own way within your story, at the moment I choose. So do not rush to conclude your future based only on what you can see today. My timeline is not bound to the milestones the world calls a prime, a golden season, or too late. When I decide to intervene, I do not ask how many years you have lived. I ask how much your heart has been shaped. I look at the tenderness of your soul before me, not at your wrinkles or your resume before the world. I can change the cycle of a family, turn the direction of a history stream, rewrite the story of a lineage simply by visiting one person who is willing to open their heart in trust, willing to stand amid the fractures and say, Lord, I am still here. Do you know it? You yourself are the point of contact from which I desire to rewrite what seemed fixed from generations past. I am quietly rearranging your position, not only outwardly but deep within. In the spiritual realm, I am moving you out of the place of oppression, out of the place where you always had to bow your head and ask permission, into a position where you can stand firm, lift your face without arrogance, because you know I am the one holding you up. Within your inner world, I am freeing you from the shame of inferiority, from the voice that says, you are only a loser, so you can gradually believe you are the child of a king who does not know defeat. In finances, in work, in doors of career or calling, I am not merely solving a bill, an anxiety, a debt. I am resetting how you see everything, from one who clings to one who stewards, from one who chases lack to one who knows how to use what they have to build and to serve. I am lifting you from the bottom of dependence to a place where you can become a support for others. Everything that has been taken from you over the years, opportunities, relationships, dreams extinguished, joys suffocated, I have not forgotten. I will not merely return things as they were. Every loss, every season in which you were deprived, every time you suffered because you chose honesty, every moment you paid a price for keeping a clean conscience, I will repay with compensation many times over greater wisdom, clearer vision, and doors that, if you had never walked through the valley, you would never have had the strength to enter. Whatever the enemy has held back, I will compel it to be returned not only to you, but to those around you as well. I do not operate like one who bargains. I act as the sovereign Lord. And when I decide to restore, the final picture is always more beautiful than the beginning. I still remember the nights you sat in your small room, weary at heart. Your prayer reduced to only a few words, Lord, let me have enough to live. I heard every word. I treasured every tear of that humility. You dared to ask only for enough, because you had grown used to being refused. You asked for little because you feared disappointment if you hoped for more. You asked for just enough because you did not believe you deserved anything beyond that. But today I tell you this, what you have asked has not yet reached what I am preparing. You see only today's meal. I am preparing for you a season of provision from which you will be able to share with many. You think only of getting through your own lack. I am thinking of making you a starting point for change in the lives of those around you. Whoever passes through humiliation and still keeps kindness within, refusing to let bitterness take control, is ready to hold abundance without losing themselves. You have been spoken ill of, misunderstood, pushed aside, and yet I saw you choose not to retaliate, not to answer back just to satisfy your anger, not to step on others in order to climb. In those moments you thought you were weak, but in truth you were being formed into someone strong enough not to be distorted by power or money. I do not pour overflow into a heart hardened by resentment, because it will use that overflow to prove itself superior, not to love. But I take great delight in filling to overflowing a heart that knows how to bow low, a heart that has walked through pain and still remains soft. You have completed the test of silence. Even when you thought you would collapse for good, you kept coming to me. Even when you felt nothing, you still chose faith. Even as tears fell with no one to comfort you, you believed those days were only an exhausting stretch dragged on too long. But in my eyes, they were the most beautiful hours of your journey. And so now I am leading you into a new season, where sound begins to replace stillness, not the noise of the world, but the resonance of my promises, one by one becoming reality. Doors will knock with your name on them. Not only you knocking on doors, invitations will come. Opportunities will arise. Relationships you once never dared to imagine will begin to find you in a way that feels natural. You will hear yes in places that once held only no. You will see scattered pieces of your journey suddenly fit together, as though an unseen hand is assembling them into a complete picture. You once thought you had dissolved into the crowd unnoticed, unremembered. But I have not overlooked a single step you took, a single sacrifice you accepted in silence, a single time you swallowed your pain to forgive when you had every right to be angry. I have counted even the times you smiled at those who hurt you, the times you helped someone while you yourself were lacking. I saw you hold back words that could have wounded others, even when you had enough reasons to speak them. I saw you remain faithful in your responsibilities when others belittled your effort. To the world, these things seem small, not worth mentioning. To me, they are the most precious seeds of all. You thought those seeds were buried in cold ground and forgotten, but I have stored them in my treasury. Like a farmer who carefully remembers every seed sown, not a single act of love you have done, not a single moment of faithfulness has been lost. They have not disappeared. They are simply waiting for the right season. And when that season comes, the harvest I return to you will not be enough merely for a day or a month, but for a new chapter of your life, an abundant season that will not only fill your own storehouse, but overflow wherever your feet go. You will see blessing follow you into your workplace, into your family, into unexpected meetings and encounters. I do not promise that you will never face another trial, but I promise you will enter the next trials from a different place with a different understanding, with a different steadiness, no longer as one who always feels like a victim. You will stand as one who has been set free to become a support for others, no longer asking only, "Why has this happened to me?" You will begin to ask, "Lord, what do you want me to do in the midst of this?" And that question will be the sign that you understand the true meaning of grace. Grace does not come merely to make you less tired, but to make you an instrument of peace, hope, and light in the very places where you once stumbled. My child, let these words sink deep into your heart. You have not been forgotten. You have not missed your moment. You have not been pushed to the margins of my plan. every silence I allowed, every delay I permitted, every hidden battle I let you walk through, everything held back longer than you wanted, all of it has led you to this moment, the moment I raise you up. Not so you can boast, but so you can live as a child who knows their worth in the Father's eyes and is ready to step into the role I entrust to you. Take my hand and keep walking. The rest I will take care of. Now, in this hour, I gently invite you to become still. Lift your heart upward and speak to me the deepest prayers hidden within you. Almighty God, in the days when the sky above me seemed sealed shut, I lift up to you all my weariness and confusion. At times I believed your silence was proof that I had been abandoned. But today I ask to look back with the eyes of faith. Help me trust that behind every quiet interval, a loving plan is quietly unfolding, even when I cannot yet see it fully. Teach me to be silent with you, not in despair, but in confidence that you are still working for me. Give my heart peace, not fleeing from silence, but leaning on you in that very stillness. And let me always remember that I have never walked through any dark night alone. Loving Father, so often I struggle to accept your delays, because I want everything to happen according to my own will, in the timing I desire. Today, I kneel before you and confess that I often focus only on what I want to receive, forgetting what kind of person I am becoming in the receiving. Use this season of waiting to refine my heart, transform my motives, and purify the ambitions and fears mixed within my soul. Help me understand that your slowing down is not meant to harm me, but to mature me. Teach me to cooperate with your grace, so that instead of praying only let me have, I begin to pray, make me worthy of what you are about to entrust to me. Merciful Lord Jesus, I come to you as a weary warrior after battles no one can see. There were times I thought every failure meant I was simply weak, but you know the unseen resistance I have faced. Do not let me be crushed by self-accusation. Help me recognize that you are still beside me, lifting me up little by little. Clothe me with the armor of faith and the helmet of hope in those hidden battles known only to you and me. Give me strength to be faithful when no one notices, to keep praying when I see no sign, and to keep walking when my heart wants only to stop. Above all, let me believe that you see every wound I am afraid to speak aloud. God, my Father, I realize that some blessings, if they come too soon, would cause me to stumble instead of raising me up. Therefore I offer you my desires, together with a willingness to be corrected by you. Do not give me what exceeds my inner capacity, yet do not allow my soul to remain small. Enlarge my heart, so that when grace arrives, I will not keep it for myself, but become an open vessel for many others. Teach me to live like a flowing spring, so that what I receive from you can pass through my life and reach those who are in greater need. Help me understand that being entrusted with more means being trusted with more, not being favored for self-indulgence. Holy Spirit of love, I invite you to enter deeply into every shadowed place of my heart, places wounded by delay, by failure, by unfinished dreams. Rekindle in me the desire for holiness, the desire to live true to my calling, rather than merely seeking outward comfort. Grant me discernment, so I may understand where I am within God's plan and what step I must take to grow in Him. Help me receive the responsibilities you give with humility and gratitude, not fear and retreat. Make each day of my life a small but faithful yes to your loving will. Lord, you who hold every moment of my life, today I return to you the whole story of my life, the chapters behind me, the pages I am living now, and the future pages I do not yet know. I place into your hands my disappointments in silence, my weariness in waiting, The battles I once thought meaningless, and even the dreams I still carry quietly within. Rewrite me. Reorder me. Use everything that has happened to shape me into the person you desire me to become. Teach me to stand in the place you choose, even if it does not match what I once imagined. And let me always remember that the final destination of my life is not blessing, but you, yourself, Almighty God. Now, I bow to give you thanks, not only for the times you answered quickly, but also for the long silences I once did not understand. Only now do I see that the days I thought you were far from me were the very days you stood closest, correcting my steps and realigning my direction. I thank you for not indulging every demand of mine, so that I would not be lost in my own will. I thank you for patiently waiting for me to mature rather than rushing to give and letting me fall too soon. And I am especially grateful that whether I understood it or not, your love for me never diminished. Loving Father, I thank you for the delays, for the doors that closed, for the dreams I thought would come true and then dissolved. Without those moments, I would not have learned surrender. I thank you for using slowness to reveal the cracks within my heart, so I could see where I need healing. Thank you for not giving me what I was not ready to carry, even when I complained that I had waited too long. Today, looking back, I understand that your delay was a protective fence, so that grace would not become a burden that crushes my soul. Gentle and humble Lord Jesus, I offer you my gratitude for the unseen battles I have passed through with you. Thank you that every tear I cried in secret was not wasted, but received by you and turned into inner strength. Thank you that when I thought I had lost, you showed me I was still standing, even with trembling legs. I am grateful that you did not abandon me in my darkest hours, even when I could not feel you. Thank you that through those battles, I learned greater compassion for the pain of others and a softer gentleness towards souls struggling through the night of their own lives. God, my Father, I bow in thanksgiving that you have not only delivered me from difficult seasons, but also placed me in the right position within your loving plan. Thank you for not letting me stop at merely feeling better, but for calling me into a role, a mission you prepared in advance. I am grateful that you trusted me with responsibilities I once believed I did not deserve. I thank you that every season of silence, every stretch of waiting, every step of warfare, every long-held delay has led me to this day, the place of a child who is loved, trusted, and invited to cooperate with God Himself. And I offer this gratitude as a commitment I do not want only to receive. I want to become what you are calling me to be, God who leads me along every path. I bow in thanks that when I thought I had lost my way, you quietly turned my life back to the right place. I thank you for closing positions I longed for, only to open places I never expected, places that turned out to be where I truly belonged. I thank you for the relationships, the work, and the service you entrusted to me after the season of waiting. I see now that you did not only let me get back what was lost, but allowed me to become part of your loving plan for others. Teach me always to give thanks for where I stand today, whether small or great, hidden or visible, because I trust that if this is where you have placed me, then this is the best place for my soul in this moment. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so that together we can build a strong community of faith